This story is about a man's infinite trust in God's providence. Let's delve into the story and see if his faith pulled him out of the crisis he was in. In the middle of a valley, there was a house on the top of a low hill. In the house lived a farmer, Lencho, with his family. Lencho had been waiting for the rain desperately since the morning. The rain would have meant a good corn harvest. During the mealtime, it started raining. Huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. Lencho went out to enjoy the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. He exclaimed, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins." Suddenly, a strong wind began to blow, and very large hailstones began to fall. Lencho became worried. He exclaimed, "It's really getting bad now. I hope it passes quickly." But the hailstorm did not pass quickly. It lasted for an hour and destroyed the crop entirely. How do you feel for Lencho's situation? What would you have done if you were in Lencho's place? Lencho was despondent. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year, we will have no corn." That night was a sorrowful night, and nobody in the family knew how they would survive that year. All through the night, Lencho thought of his only hope, God. Lencho believed that God could see everyone's pain and suffering and always helped the needy. So, he decided to write a letter to God. What would you have done in such a situation? Would you have thought of starting some correspondence with God? That Sunday, Lencho wrote a letter to God explaining his miserable condition. He asked for 100 pesos to help him and his family survive until the next harvest. He wrote, "To God" on the envelope, put the letter inside, went to town and posted the letter. A postman saw the letter. Never in his life had he known such an address. He laughed and took it to the postmaster. The postmaster read the letter and laughed. But immediately he became serious and said, "What faith? I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter. Starting up a correspondence with God?" The postmaster decided to answer the letter, not to let down Lencho's faith in God. But when he opened it, he realized that to answer the letter, he needed something more than goodwill, ink, and paper. He needed money. So he gathered some money himself. Some employees at the post office also contributed. Still, the postmaster could not gather 100 pesos as requested by Lencho. He could collect only 70 pesos. Nevertheless, to help Lencho, he put the 70 pesos in an envelope addressed to him with only a single word as a signature, God. When Lencho came the next Sunday, asking if there was a letter for him, the postman handed him the letter. The postmaster happily and contentedly waited to see Lencho's reaction. Lencho was not shocked or surprised on seeing the letter. Rather, he became angry as he counted the money. He immediately asked for a pen and paper and began writing with much effort. He dropped the letter into the mailbox. The postmaster opened the letter as soon as he could. The letter read, "God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lencho." Thus, the story ends. Did you see how the story ends in a satirical manner? The post office employees were the ones who had helped Lencho. In a way, they might even be interpreted as the instruments through whom God helped Lencho. But perhaps because Lencho was not aware of the reality, he considered them to be a bunch of crooks. Had he known the reality, he would have been ever grateful to them. Another lesson to learn from the story is his unshakable faith in God. Psalm 57 verse 1 says, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble." One must remember that we must not lose hope. If you believe in God, you'll always experience His help through the instruments He uses to help you out. What are your opinions on Lencho and his faith? Think about it. Happy learning.